Blowing like a breeze, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. Hey everybody, Ketwolski here, checking in with another one of our hashtag Earl Grey Pour Up videos. Today we're going to be covering a couple of news stories that have recently come out in the wake of the massive announcement in regards to the new Pike show, Strange New Worlds. We've got a little bit of update on Strange New Worlds, a little bit of update on Lower Decks, the animated show by Mike McMahon, and we've got some updates on Picard. So let's go ahead and jump right into the Strange New World updates. Essentially, there has been like a slur of different interviews from different production members and a few cast members that have popped up online post the announcement, including several really key ones by Akiva Goldsman, who is kind of taking the reins a little bit on this particular show and is even going as far as writing several episodes, especially the show's premiere. While speaking in an interview recently, Akiva Goldsman did confirm two things that we had already kind of theorized a little bit on this channel. I know a lot of other people have already theorized that on as well, which is that the show is going to be much more episodic while still maintaining some of those long-standing story arcs in between each of the episodes for the characters. Essentially, they're looking to try to have their cake and eat it too, which is to do these self-contained little episodes where we have a bit of a monster of the week, but it's not that soft reset that we kind of dealt with especially TNG, but in some regards TOS and some of the other shows. But TNG kind of is where that really became known as the soft reset, which is that after every episode, the characters almost forget that they went through a life-changing traumatic event from the previous one, unless the writers absolutely need them to remember that that event happened. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to affect them at all. So apparently they're going to try to go for a bit of a mix of that, which is kind of what we theorized here, but getting that confirmation that it's going to be much more episodic is great, I think, for a lot of fans who were on the fence about the more serialized storytelling of Discovery and Picard. I think this is really great news for all of you guys, and for those of you who did like that aspect, it does seem as though they're going to try to keep some of those larger character arcs, story threads throughout the entire series. We don't know how many episodes it's going to be. Potentially 10, maybe more. I know Picard had 10. Discovery's kind of gone back and forth with a little bit over 10 in the mid-teens, but it's not quite clear how many episodes we're going to have, but that is some information that I think is important for everybody to know, and it's good to hear. Another quick little update, which is about the Lower Decks thing. Apparently, there was a demo reel that circulated around the Secret Hideout / Viacom CBS offices, and several people apparently did see it and had some really positive things about it. Akiva Goldsman did talk about it, mentioned that he hadn't seen it, but he heard really great things as well. He didn't get an opportunity to see it, but this is really exciting news. This is kind of some of the only news we've had really about this show since it was really kind of announced. We've gotten a few more bits of information about some of the character designs, but really there hasn't been much about this show. It is still slated to be premiering this year, but when that's going to happen, how that's going to work for an international and stateside release is unclear at this point, but it does appear as though that show is moving forward, and hopefully we'll get it rather soon. This is one of the shows that I am the most interested to learn about and to be kind of experiencing as a Star Trek fan, because it's just so much different than what we've had before. You know, even for all the differences that Discovery and Picard have from previous Trek iterations, it was still about a crew and a ship and an adventure, and it was a bit more dramatic in tone, and it was a bit more comedy in tone, and those things that kind of have like a lot of spiritual connections to what we've had before in Star Trek. Whereas Lower Decks, this whole, second contact mission and it trying to be funny and being animated, it's a lot of stuff that we haven't really experienced before. Yes, we've had the animated show, but that was definitely played to be essentially like the animated version of the original series, whereas this one is a much more, artistic take on the franchise to be something slightly different that we've never had before. So I'm excited about it. It has been touted as the unofficial season 8 of The Next Generation. That's not only just in terms of timeline, but in terms of feel and tone and kind of where it's taking place, I think, inside of the fandom as a whole, inside the franchise as a whole, I should say. So that's the one I'm most excited about, just to be a part of and to experience, because it's just got a lot of unknowns. So I would love to see the daggone demo reel. I want to see if the show's funny. I want to see the animation. I want to see what these characters sound like and look like and feel like on screen. I'm very excited to see it. And the final little bit of news that we do have today is in regards to Star Trek Picard. Again, Akiva Goldsman was doing a couple of interviews where he shared a few different details about what was going on with the series for its second run. Essentially, the filming of the second series was supposed to kick off in June. However, obviously due to the coronavirus outbreak, that has been kind of pushed back. They don't quite know when they're going to be able to start, but Keith Goldsman's kind of interpretation here is as soon as they possibly can, they're going to get everybody together and start filming with all of the proper safety guidelines. I assume that they'll have to follow now by the studio and by the state of California, because the show does film in California. And California is in the process, for those of you guys that don't know, California is in the process of slowly relaxing some regulations in certain areas, but not everything right now. Production studios are still facing these issues right now. So it likely will continue to try to film in California, and once they're able to, it looks like they're going to try to get it going as quickly as possible. But speaking about a second season, another question that a lot of people have, which is how many seasons will Picard actually air? Sir Patrick Stewart is a little bit older, and the younger cast seems like they're capable of doing something, but are they really capable of holding on to this show of Picard by themselves without Sir Patrick being a part of it? And Akiva Goldsman did touch on that as well, basically saying that the show is going to continue as long as Sir Patrick wants it to, which I think kind of does two things with that statement. One, kind of blows out that rumor that was floating around that the show will exist without Patrick Stewart being involved in some capacity, because clearly their intention is to only do it for as long as he wants to. The other thing that does is kind of remove at least the possibility of the Picard crew, the La Sirena crew that we kind of got introduced to in the first season, and that'll likely be a part of the second season. That kind of removes the ability of them to continue the storyline in that context. They may get spin-off shows, they may get short treks, they may get a movie, whatever the heck it is. But in the context of Star Trek Picard, I think it removes the ability for those characters to continue on without Sir Patrick Stewart, which is kind of whatever. I like those characters. I like a lot of them. I like especially, Captain Rios. I like his character quite a bit. I wish he could have his own show. Personally, I'd like to go on the adventures of Rios, but, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to keep it inside of the Star Trek Picard vehicle. They can do a spin-off series, and they're not shy about making that. We have, I think, 7 productions of Star Trek in various stages of development or filming or post-production, so they're clearly not shy about making more and more shows, so that may be what's in store for them in the future. But it does, though, appear as once Patrick Stewart's kind of done playing the character again and done kind of doing the show, that they're going to go ahead and wrap it up. My personal guess is that it'll be 3 seasons. That's my personal guess. I don't think it'll go beyond that. 3 is pretty good. It gives you the opener season, which we've already had, a great meat kind of middle, and then a great way to cap off not only Picard's story, but probably the majority of our TNG alumni as well. So I think that's kind of what we're going to go with. Another little bit of information that we got was an interview by Sir Patrick Stewart, where he did talk about the fact that quite a few of the scripts for the second season of Star Trek Picard have already been written, and he has read them. And he did want to clarify that they're not going to be doing things again the same way that they did in the first season. They're not going to be retreading the same ground. So I don't know necessarily what that means. Are they not going to go with a, universe-ending expansive situation where everything is kind of riding on the line or something like that? Are they going to kind of go away from the strong character elements of the show? Or are they going to maybe go episodic as well and kind of do Monsters of the Week, similar to what we're going to get for Strange New Worlds? It's unclear at this point what they're planning on doing, but it is good to hear that they are still in that process of getting those script kind of ironed out. I know Akiva Goldsman also talked about that as well, where it was kind of, excited and celebrated the fact that there was a bit of a delay because they get more time to let those scripts kind of sit inside the hopper and cook for a little bit longer, and maybe get some even better scripts that we'll have for the second season, which I think is great. I think it gives the writers a little bit of a break in some regards, where maybe they're not necessarily underneath that time crunch, because when you think about how fast they came off the heels of the first season of Picard and jumping right into the writing of the second season, that's pretty short turnaround if they were planning on doing pre-production and filming and all that stuff starting off in June, which is really just right around the corner. So this gives them a little bit more time to maybe kind of fine-tune some of those ideas. So hopefully this actually works out for the better, and that we get an even better product than we could have ever even hoped for. All right, folks, that does wrap up our main news stories for today. Not a whole lot going on right now. Just wanted to get those little bits of news out there for you. There is CBS upfronts right now happening, the Viacom CBS upfronts, which they're doing remotely. They did one yesterday on the 18th, and they're doing their second piece today on the 19th, which is supposed to feature some information about CBS All Access and the new Star Trek shows. I don't think that there's going to be anything major happening in there, but obviously whatever information we do get, I will report in the next Earl Grey Pour Up. So keep on the lookout for that details there, and go ahead and throw up your thoughts and comments up down below. Are you excited about the confirmation for Strange New Worlds being episodic, and what do you think is going to be happening in the second season of Picard, and how many seasons do you think we're going to get? Throw your comments up down below. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies!